Hello. Oh God. What a great start. Are we in frame? I think we're in frame. I think you're wobbling about. I'm not doing my job right, apparently. Welcome back to my car park. I'm claiming this is my car park now. I know this technically belongs to my village, but sod it, here we are. It's Caitlin's car park. Caitlin's car calamities. Oh God. Can I start a bike? I'm actually in such a good mood today because the sun is shining again. Tell me why this last week we have genuinely been living in darkness. I don't know what has been going on with the UK, but every time I've woken up and looked out the window, all I'm seeing is grey. Not to whip out the fancy words too soon, but it's giving pathetic fallacy because why does the greyness affect my mood so much? Waking up and seeing sunshine outside my window today, genuinely I was dancing around the kitchen. Blast a bit of Olivia Dean. God bless that woman. I get really scared when I'm in this car park that someone is actually just going to walk past and be like, what's this woman doing today? She's the village mad woman, apparently. Guys, also fun fact about this car park, I used to come and sit here with a boy and we used to sit in his car and watch The Office together. I'm not sure why we did that. All I can say is I had a wild youth. I got a salted caramel latte in Costa today because they ran out of maple hazels, which was really sad. Anyway, I'm going to stop wishing on about Costa and actually just start wishing about what you guys have asked me to wish on about today, which is giving you guys uni advice. Because I was at uni for quite a flipping long time, 5 years of my life. That's nearly a quarter of my life that I was at university. That's wild. That kind of explains why I'm genuinely having withdrawal symptoms from it at the moment. I'm struggling, to be honest. I really miss it. Last night I was sat in my bedroom and it was a Wednesday. No, it was a Tuesday last night. And I was like, God, if I was in Edinburgh, I could be in a pub right now. But if I went to a pub right now, living at home with my parents, they would genuinely think I had a problem. Although actually, arguably, if you're going to a pub on a Tuesday at uni, do you have a problem still then? I don't know. Anyway, I asked you guys to send in your uni dilemmas. And I'm going to try and use my 5 years of experience to help you out. Oh, my friend's calling me. We're off to a good start. Yeah? Wait, what do you mean there's 2 bikes? Wait, where?
Past the station.
Yeah. Wait, I'm literally sat in a car park in the village right now.
Whereabouts? Why aren't you there, you freak?
I'm filming a YouTube video.
Stop. Look, pull up here. Let's go check them out.
Okay, I'll see you in a second. I'm going on a side quest to go and find a bike. Oh my God, what is my life? So I'm going to come back to your uni dilemmas in a second. We're going to go pick up some bikes. Because this is my life, apparently. Every day I am living an episode of This Country. You're going to come with me to pick up these bikes. I don't know how... Oh, here she is. She's just rocking up now. Hang on. Wait, I can't open my car. Hello? I can't I can never start my car. I don't know. I got overwhelmed. I panicked. I'll follow you. What is my life? Village tour. Do you want the village tour? You're getting one now with it. Oh, God. Christ. Right. I'll see you in a sec. Wait, they're nice bikes. What the heck?
No, that one's tyres are pretty good.
Okay, well that's gonna have to be cut out the video.
Actual skills.
I think this is simply not gonna fit in the back of my car. How do we do this? Bike has been secured. This was a very unexpected side quest for the video. We're gonna return to the car park to go back to the regularly scheduled program. God, if I could put my phone down for 2 seconds and then all of a sudden everyone needs replying to. I can't reply to you right now. I'm busy. Sorry. Anyway. Oh, I've got ladybird on me. I feel like I've seen somewhere recently that ladybirds mean that something lucky is coming into your life. It's like a sign of manifestation, that your manifestation is going to come true. I haven't been manifesting anything recently. Or have I? You never know. Anyway, now I'm going to try and answer some of your uni dilemmas because that's why you're here. You are not here to see me go and pick up a random bike. As I feel with anything in life, please take any advice I gave in this video with a pinch of salt. Only you know the best thing for you to do. You sort of just have to follow your gut feeling whilst you're navigating this new chapter of life because it is overwhelming and it is scary, but everyone is so capable of it, and that is coming from someone that genuinely did not think they would survive uni. First year me, God, I would call up my parents all the time being like, Mum, Dad, I'm dropping out, I can't do this. And they're like, no, you can. And I'm like, but I've just eaten 7 burnt chicken nuggets for dinner. They definitely despaired, but here we are. On the topic of calling parents, someone said, did you get homesick? And if so, how did you cope? Oh my God, did I get homesick? In the moment when you're dealing with homesickness, your body is screaming at you, I want to go home, that's going to fix everything. I just need 2 nights at home and then I'll be ready to go back. I actually, in all honesty, don't know if it does work that way. I genuinely feel like, for me at least, anytime I did go home, it would almost make it worse going back afterwards because you remember all the home comforts, you remembered all the things you missed, you had a couple of home cooked meals and you think to yourself, I don't want to go back to uni again. So as shit as it seems, my genuine biggest advice for homesickness is to try and not go home. Try and stay at uni for as long as you can. Whether for you that's 2 weeks, 4 weeks, a month, 2 months. Leave it until you literally have to go home. Something that I would actually really recommend though, instead of going home, is inviting friends from home to see you at uni. And I think this works for a multitude of reasons. A, you get that little bit of home comfort without having to go all the way home. And it also feels quite fun being able to show people the new place you're living. I did this when I first moved up to Edinburgh, and I had a group of girls from Reading come and visit me. I know they weren't technically home friends, they were uni friends, but for me, they were basically home at that stage in my life. And they came up, I think, after I'd been there for a month, and I was genuinely really struggling. And the fact that I knew they were visiting was one of the only things getting me through at the start of moving to Scotland. And they came up for a weekend, and it was amazing because I got to show them the sights. I took them to all the new uni places that I actually knew of. And when they left, I thought to myself, wait, I do know my way around this city now. I just gave people a tour, and it kind of made me feel like Edinburgh was becoming my home. So I would really recommend inviting people up to visit you instead of going home yourself. That definitely helps. Also, call people from home. I feel like it's so easy to just get riled up in day-to-day life and forget how accessible people are. I know for me, especially when I'm at uni, like the thought of having to call someone felt like the most overwhelming task in the world. Genuinely, I would schedule in one phone call with my mum a week. That was all the woman was getting. However, the calls help. It's going to give you that little boost that you need. You can vent to your mum or your parents or whoever you want to phone without having the pressure of like putting on this new persona that you might be trying to build at uni, which is a whole other thing. It's so tough. I feel like I had a lot of questions like this, and honestly, it's breaking my heart because I remember going through the exact same thing myself. Someone said, it feels like literally everyone has a group and I'm left out. Will I find my people? For a start, yes, you will find your people, I promise you. And even if you don't, that's okay. The people that you're meeting at uni is still a very small bunch of people in the grand scheme of the world. If you don't find your people in that one little city, that is okay. However, I remember going through the exact same thing. When I started at uni, I started during COVID, which actually made meeting people 10 times harder. You couldn't join societies. I wasn't even really going to classes. You literally had your flatmates. And I remember after the first term, it felt like everyone had already found their group and I didn't. And I felt like I was doing something wrong. I felt like I was genuinely going mad, and I thought, fuck it. This university must just not have the people for me. I'm dropping out and moving unis. I'm going home. Sod this. I'm so glad I didn't, because by the end of first year, I had found my people. However, in all honesty, I think that a lot of what I had to do to find my people was, this is gonna sound so cringy, was to find myself. I was such a little nervous wreck when I started uni. I was not the person I am now. And I think that's maybe why I found it quite hard to connect with people. However, what I'm gonna say about those friendships that I did witness at the start, people latch on. When you start uni, everyone is overwhelmed. Everyone is terrified of loneliness. So people latch on to the first person that they meet during freshers, or the first person they sit next to in the kitchen, or the first person they sit next to in their lecture. That doesn't necessarily mean those people are meant for each other. It just means they are scared of being alone. So when you're seeing all of these big groups of people going to the library together or going on nights out together, I promise you, that doesn't necessarily mean they've actually found their groups. In another 6 months' time, those groups will probably have completely dispersed again. So don't panic that you haven't just latched on to the first person that you've met. Take your time to find people that you genuinely connect with. There is absolutely no correct time frame for finding your people. However, I feel like the most important thing that you can do is keep putting yourself out there. Don't give up. I remember my parents saying this to me. They just kept saying, just give it another month. If you're still feeling like this by Christmas, or if you're still feeling this by Easter, or if you're still feeling like this by summer, then consider dropping out. So glad they did this, because it just took me a little bit longer to feel comfortable in the people that I was around. So I promise you that even if it doesn't feel like you're going to meet your people right now, you will, with a little bit of perseverance. And it is going to get better. It's going to get easier, I promise. And I also remember when I started up at Edinburgh, I genuinely had a crisis around Christmas of going, I'm never going to meet my people. And this was after I'd done uni and I'd found myself, and I knew that I was a much more confident version of me than I was when I started at Reading. And I remember having a conversation with someone, and again, they said, I went through the exact same thing. And she said to me, I don't think I ever did find my people. However, for me, uni was a bigger learning curve in feeling comfortable within my own presence. So I started going back to Edinburgh with this mindset of being like, well, okay, if I'm not going to find my people here, which again, I did end up doing, thank God, because I met some brilliant people. I started trying to use the opportunities that I was having and the fact that I was living in a new city and I was studying something that I was really interested in just seeing it as self-development. So take this time now where you don't necessarily have a group of people to distract you all the time, to just build your own life. Leading on from this, someone said, how did you make friends? I feel like I only have my boyfriend and my roommate. I met my friends in, I was gonna say unconventional ways. I actually don't think I did. My friends from undergrad basically were an extension of my flatmates. So again, as I was saying, I started during COVID, so you couldn't go out and do the typical society socializing thing. So we would just have these gatherings where people would text people from other schools that they knew were here, and then we'd all get together. So my undergrad friend group was very much just formed of friends, flatmates, housemate. It was such a mishmash. I don't think that I went to like one event one night and went, yes, I found my people. However, Edinburgh, I would say I did find my main group of friends through societies. I joined lacrosse. I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna go, oh my God, Caitlin, you can't deny you're posh, you did lacrosse. I just enjoyed the sport. Let a girl live. I'm spilling my coffee. It's all going on. But even with this, I think I had to go to a good, like, probably 4 or 5 of the sessions before a group of girls rocked up that I was like, oh, I could be friends with you. Actually, that's a lie. That's a big fat flipping lie. One of my best friends, Carly, who was American, love Carly. I met her in the queue for the Freshers' Fair. I was stood in the queue for the Freshers' Fair by myself, and this girl comes up to me and she's like, hey, are you going in? Like, do you want someone to stand with? I'm also by myself. And I was like, oh my God, yeah, please come say hi. And it turned out we were both signing up for lacrosse together. So then we got each other's numbers and we hiked up Arthur's Seat later that day. It was literally like something out of a movie. And then we became friends from there. However, Carly was only in Edinburgh for study abroad. So I knew that I was only going to have this friendship till Christmas. So I was like, okay, I've got to keep putting myself out there. I can't just cling on to this one person as much as I wanted to. Don't cling on to the first person you meet, even though me and Carly are still bloody brilliant friends now. So every time I went to a lacrosse social, I was very aware to like try and speak to other people as well as Carly. And there was one training session, a couple of other post-grad girls came and I was like, oh, you seem cool. And I remember thinking to myself, I was like, wait, I really want to be friends with these girls. Oh my God, wait, it's all coming back to me now. This is what happened. I met my friend Shivy at a lacrosse session. She said, hey, my housemate's hosting a prees tonight. Do you want to come along? I was shitting it. I was like, okay, I guess I'll come to this random prees where I don't know anyone. I went to this prees and I walked in and I just remember having the most heartwarming conversations with everyone that I met there. And I remember leaving and walking away going, yeah, that's my people. And after that night, I knew that was the group of people that I wanted to put energy into. So in that sense, I would say go to the socials. Even if you can't do the sport, go to the socials. I couldn't do lacrosse for the flipping life of me. I ran away from the ball every time it came towards my face. Still made it onto the falls though somehow. Not sure how that one happened. Oh God. Okay. Someone said, my flatmate is in love with me. I'm not. We're already signed on to live together next year. Go! That's terrifying. I'm gonna give you some strong advice now. If you are not in love with the man, tell him. Make it explicitly clear. Living together will be fine, as long as you don't lead the man on. He will find someone else, or you'll find someone else. These initial interactions and romances and whatever that you're going to be having during Freshers Week are going to wear off by Christmas, I promise you. The people that people are getting with right now, by Easter, 90% of them are going to fizzle out. Oh God. Someone said, I've moved into a flat of 12 and none of them are really my people. What do I do? Flatmates are hard. And again, it just comes down to absolute potluck, whether you get on with them or not. I also lived with 12 people in my undergrad, in my freshers flat. And I got really lucky that out of the 12, I would say, I was going to say there were 6 of us that were sane. I really want to tell you a story right now about my psycho flatmate, but I fear I'm going to have to save that for another time because that is a story time upon itself. However, what I will say is out of the 12 people, 5 of us actually got on really well. So that definitely made that living experience manageable. I was pretty happy in that flat. However, when I moved up to Edinburgh, I also moved back into halls and I had a very different experience there. When I moved up to Edinburgh, I moved into a flat of 5 girls. As much as they were all lovely people, I didn't click with any of them, which is fine. You're not going to click with everyone in life, but it definitely made my living experience a lot harder. It was probably the thing that I struggled with most at Edinburgh in general. I found it really hard. I think it was one of those ones where we had a shared kitchen, so obviously if you're in the kitchen, your flatmates might be there too. I remember there would be a lot of occasions where I'd come home from uni and I would just feel absolutely exhausted and I'd think, I'm not sure if I have the energy right now to go and make conversation with people that I don't really click with. So it sort of resulted in me ordering a lot more takeaways or just literally having pot noodles for dinner. Oh my god, there was one night I tried to make a pot noodle out of lukewarm tap water. Okay, this was actually a really bad example. That was a very low point in my life. However, by the end of my year at Edinburgh, I've found a lot more ways to navigate it, and I would say my biggest approach was just trying to keep out the flat in the evenings as much as I could. Actually, I had a similar experience to this in second year as well. In my second year, I lived in a house full of people that I did not get on with them. Again, they were really nice people, they were just never there, which led to quite an isolated experience. And again, I got really lucky whereby my main friends at that time did all live in a house together, and they just turned around and they said, Caitlin, we know you're having a shit time, here's a key to our flat, don't even message us, just let yourself in. And I would literally cook my dinner, take it round in a Tupperware box and eat in their flat instead. And it got me through. In their flat, it was a house. We were in houses by this stage, we were second year. Because I think for me, eating dinner by myself would always be the toughest part of not getting on with the people that you live with. So if you can ever find occasions where you're not eating by yourself, would recommend doing that. But also, don't blame yourself for not getting on with your flatmates. It doesn't mean you've done anything wrong, it just means they're not your people. Oh, someone said, how to get out of a major slump. I've been there so many times. God, I actually think I was the queen of slumps. I'd go to my friends in the library, I'd be like, I'm in a slump again. They'd be like, Caitlin, it's the 6th one this week. How many slumps can you find yourself in? As a woman that went through many slumps, I also became an expert in getting out of them. Actually, I feel my coping mechanism was always just to go to a bookshop and buy a self-help book that I would never read. I'm not sure if that was the best coping mechanism. I definitely had better ways of dealing with it than that. My first biggest piece of advice for when you're going through a slump: do not, for the love of God, bed rot. Because I know when you're at uni, that is all you want to do. And I definitely did it. I genuinely had days where I was at uni where when I was in a bad place, I would sit in bed all day. I wouldn't even leave my bed to eat. I literally would just reach down, find whatever food was on my floor and eat that. There was one day where all I ate was Labrucan because that was the only thing that was in my bedroom. That was a particularly bad day, to be fair. I learned quite quickly that doing that just makes you feel worse. What you're gonna do when you're in a slump is you're gonna find a reason to get out of bed in the morning. And this can be anything from going on a walk by yourself, going to the gym, having a friend to meet for coffee, having someone to hold you accountable for getting out of bed definitely makes a big difference. Get out the flat, it's going to make you feel so much better. Once you have done that, you're gonna make a to-do list, whether that is catching up on lectures, starting an assignment, doing your washing. Even if you can only tick one thing off of that to-do list that day, you have achieved something. Tidy your bedroom. Oh my god, this is what I would always do when I was in a slump, is I would get up, I would make my bed so you're not feeling inclined to get back into it. Tidy your space, so then once you've left the house and you're coming back, you're not just crawling into a hole. God, I remember this was the best thing my friends ever did for me when I was in a really bad place in second year. This was, I think, after my only eating Labrucan for a day episode. 2 of my best friends came round and they spent the day tidying my bedroom, and I have never loved anyone more because it meant that I could go to sleep that night in a clean space and I woke up the next morning and I felt like a normal human being again. And guys, also, if you're ever seeing a friend struggle at uni, offer to tidy their bedroom for them or offer to go food shopping with them, because it's little things like that that can genuinely make the biggest world of difference. I had a lot of questions about finding second year housing. Someone said pressure to find second year housing so fast and who to know who to live with. This was something that I was absolutely baffled by. I think genuinely in Reading by October you were expected to be signing up for houses for second year. You've known these people a month, 1 month. I don't even think I could tell you my flatmate's surnames by the end of month 1, let alone whether I knew whether I wanted to commit to living with them for another year. It's really, really hard. And I know that every uni does it slightly differently. There'll be some places that you don't have to think about second year housing until like the end of first year, which is so much nicer, because otherwise you are kind of just signing up to live with people that you don't really know. My only advice that I can give with this is just follow your gut feeling on who you feel like you're connected with most right now. My second year house ended up being a really weird combination of people. We started off with 6 people that all got on quite well, and then 2 of them dropped out. One of them, I lived with one of my flatmates from Freshers, 2 of his friends, one guy that moved into our flat really last minute and just needed somewhere to live, and another girl who didn't have anywhere else to live and just ended up moving in with us. So again, I kind of hope that demonstrates that lots of people are in situations where they don't really know who to live with at this early on stage. And I also remember a lot of people by the end of first year were sort of going, oh, I'm actually not sure if I do want to live with these people that I signed up to live with for another year. And as much as your living situation does make a difference in your uni experience, I would say, even if you end up living with people that you don't feel super connected with, that doesn't mean you can't go around to your friends' houses and you can't go out in the evenings and yada yada yada. I think there was another question of someone saying, I'm in a group of 4 and we feel like we're all hinting that we want to move in together, but no one's actually made the move. Girl, be the one to make the move. They'll probably all thank you for it in the future. Maybe even just make a group chat and say, hey guys, has anyone started looking at houses yet? Would you be interested in moving in together? You don't even have to say it as frank as that. Just be like, hey, have you guys started thinking about houses for next year yet? The conversation will probably just flow from there. It's so easy to fall in love. I fucking love Olivia Dean. Oh, someone said, how do you break the news to someone that you don't want to live with them in second year? That's a tough one. Oh God, tell them sooner rather than later, because otherwise you're going to fuck them over if you lead them on and they think, oh, it's fine, I'm going to live with this person, and then 6 months down the line they're suddenly left without a house and they have to scramble to find people. To be fair, I think I sort of had to do this moving from my second year house to my third year house, because the rest of my second year house were all like, no, I think we're going to live together again, and I had to be the one to go, really sorry guys, I think I'm not gonna live with you. I think the way that I did it was I maybe just put a message in the group chat and said, hey, I'm really sorry, I've actually had a couple of conversations with other people about living together. But that was maybe a different situation because it wasn't just one person, that was a whole house full of people. How do you tell one person you don't want to live with them? Oh God. Maybe ask them, have they started looking at houses yet? I don't know how close you are with this person, but I'm going to guess by the fact that you feel like you have to say to them, I don't want to live with you. You're either probably living together or you're maybe in a wider friendship group and you're seeing them fairly regularly. If you feel like you're really close with this person, I would maybe have a conversation and say what I'm about to say. Or if it's maybe someone you're on a sports team with or you're not actually that close with, maybe a text can suffice. This is really hard. Oh, I'm really trying to cook on this one and I'm struggling. You could say, I know that everyone is starting to look for houses right now, and I just wanted to double check that you're not relying on me in this because we've signed a contract together or we've started to look at houses together. It's not necessarily a reflection of our friendship at all. It's just I feel closer with this other group of girls and I really hope you understand. I think either way it's going to be a really difficult conversation, and it's almost one of those things that maybe the less said the better, but just make it explicitly clear early on. Maybe also just ask if they've been looking at houses with other people yet. That could be a way to bring up the conversation. I'm actually not sure what the best thing to do would be on that one because that's really hard. Someone said situationship at a different uni. Babes, that sounds like shit. Okay, I'm actually going to give you some genuine advice on this one. I hate the word situationship. What does this even mean? Are you together? Are you talking? Are you dating? Are you exclusive? I fear I might need a little bit more information to actually try and clarify this one. However, with all relationships in general, if it's going to work out in the long run, being at different unis will not affect it. However, the only way to actually get to that stage is by having a good basis of communication to work on. I feel like with situationships, a lot of people are like, oh, but I can't talk to them because they're not my boyfriend. I can't ask them this question. I can't. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. That is the only way that people get into relationships, by having those slightly more awkward conversations. So if, okay, your situationship is at a different uni and you're sat there thinking to myself, I don't want this to stay a situationship for forever, I would like this to progress into something else, you're gonna have to open up that conversation and see how you're both feeling. But also give it time, because in another month's time, you might realise, wait, there's more fish in the sea. And there's more fish in the sea that are closer to me, say on my actual uni campus, than at a different uni. And then maybe at that stage, the situationship could be ended. I'm not sure. I was actually thinking about this question on the way here, and it kind of reminded me that I fear I was in a situationship when I first started uni. And I went off to uni, however, he stayed at home. And I don't think it lasted very long after I went to uni. But again, the only way that that was worked out was by communication and having a conversation where I sort of explained why I didn't want to be in a situationship as a fresher and I just wanted to be single. And it was actually a really hard conversation to have. I remember feeling really shit about it at the time and being like, oh my god, I'm an awful person. You're not. I just had to keep reminding myself that actually the sooner I had that conversation the better, because you're not leading anyone on, and leading people on is really shit. Someone said, balancing going out and work, struggling with all this free will, how do you manage to work? There were a lot of questions about time management on here, and oh my god, it's hard. I was crap at it for so long. I don't think I got good at time management until like midway through my second year. Even now it's debatable whether my time management is actually good. However, what I would say is you have to know your own priorities. And as much as drinking and going out might be your instant reaction to that, think about your long-term goals as well when you're making this priority list. I'm not saying that you should never ever go out. God, you know that is not the life that I lived. I was going out whilst I was at uni and I was loving it. However, during those busier periods, I would definitely cut down on the going out. And I would sort of say to myself, okay, I have 3 deadlines in the next 3 weeks. I'm not going to go out this next 3 weeks. And I'm going to go out and enjoy it more once I'm done. I think also don't try and do everything. Don't try and be part of 16 different societies and have 16 different circles of friends if you don't think you can manage that. I would say my biggest piece of advice when managing activities at uni is go for quality over quantity, i.e. find your one society that you really enjoy being a part of and throw your all into that. Find your main circle of friends that you want to make an effort with and put your time and energy into that. Find your main module that you're interested in. I think you actually do have to put a relatively equal split of time and effort into all your modules. Oh, my biggest piece of advice for time management, get a planner. I know it sounds really silly. It's flipping life-changing. And every single Sunday I would plan out my week down to the T, even down to the stage of being like, okay, this is what I'm gonna have for dinner this day, or this is what I'm gonna do with my washing. I found time management the hardest whilst I was doing my masters because you had a really heavy workload. I was balancing trying to do social media. I was in a society, and I remember my mum came up and visited me in the first term and we were sat in this corner shop and I literally looked at her and I burst into tears. I was like, I can't do this. I don't know how to keep on top of everything. And I think at that stage I had to have a realization of going, I maybe need to cut down on the going out. But it is hard and uni is a lot. How are you still on my leg? Are you trying to tell me something? Are you a sign? Maybe it's a sign that I should stop wittering soon. I really hope I gave some sort of valuable advice in this video. I fear I maybe didn't. But if you take anything from this, just remember it is all gonna be okay. I feel like I'm ending a really cringy TED talk now. Remember, it's all gonna be okay and everything happens for a reason. But everything does happen for a reason as well. I remember there were so many experiences that I went through at uni that I was like, why is this happening to me? I'm going mad. And now I look back and I realise it was to teach me a life lesson. I didn't have nits, a life lesson. On that note, I'm gonna go. Adios. Don't shag your flatmates.